All right, we're here with Michelle. Hello, Michelle.
Hi.
Introduce yourself a little bit. So you're a golf coach.
Yes, I'm the head women's golf coach at Cal State Northridge. Previously, I was an instructor at the Stanwich Club in Connecticut. Cool. But I'm a PJ Pro. I played in college.
How long have you been a pro for?
10 years.
Excellent. So plenty, and coaching is your passion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're going to do a little lesson with you. So we played together yesterday.
Yep.
Which was a lot of fun, and I've not seen. Well, I would say you're very classic of good female golfers I play with. Like you hit it like on a rope, as you described it.
Mm-hmm.
It was so accurate. It was impressive. Like you were darting it. But we definitely saw a little bit of height, didn't we?
Yes.
Certainly with the driver, you could hit some shots that went a little bit high. Let's see if we can work out where that height's coming from.
Okay.
See if we can get some different flights going.
Okay.
Right, should we take a look and see what we find? I wonder if there's anything in the plates, so we're on the dual force plates here, that shows up as an issue, or is it more something maybe a little bit more manageable?
So you could see here in the combined toe heel force, notice how it's positive the whole time, except for this tiny little blip of negative.
Yeah.
Positive is that net force shoving her pelvis towards the golf ball.
Okay, so she's more trail side, almost pushing, thrusting towards the ball, which pushes everything towards the ball.
Yeah, so let's just have a look here and look at the two shear forces. This is what we can now see off the dual plate. So you can see that, remember when we got to these two, she's actually very efficient at producing torque because these both peak about the same time.
Yeah.
But see how she's 16 and 18?
Okay.
So there's only a 2% difference. Yours was 16 and 32.
So
it was
I was
double.
So I was loads more lead
Side.
So ball here, hitting the ball this way. This is your pelvis, head up here. There'd be feet underneath. Just
And this would be your left side and your right side. And you, remember you were like 30% here and 15 here?
Yeah.
So you had a net force that was doing that and moving the box in this direction.
So in effect, clearing my hips, creating space.
Creating
not
space, yeah.
Kind of pushing myself
You're
towards
kind
the
of
ball.
just going,
So Michelle's
not quite
a bit
that
more...
much, but there. So it's kind of just staying right where it is and spinning.
Yeah.
And so you can see there's a lot less space here.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to manipulate high handle, introduce some loft.
Yeah, and you did mention that, didn't you? So if the
Right.
handle gets a bit high, or so if you show me on the downswing, like demonstrate just a little bit. If you go top of your backswing and stop, just so the viewers at home. So if you were to exaggerate thrusting towards the ball, and then you would basically, rather than laying it down, in effect you're starting to stand up to line up, and then as you come in to hit the ball, you're dumping all those angles early.
Yeah.
And loft can come in. And if we look at the loft presented, last shot here, if I can just get that on camera, there it is, 35 degrees. Then we looked at the loft of that 7-iron and it's 32?
33.
33.
Yeah. So I'm adding.
So I would like to see you getting down near a 30.
Right.
Because if you got it down near a 30, I know you could easily hit one over a tree because you'd just resort back to what you do. But then if you want to hit your penetrating full distance flight, you're going to think, right, I'm going to actually set this up in a different way. And what's really interesting when we look, if we can just take it back to impact here, Scott. Sure. Now Michelle's a classic coach, so she's out of practice. She doesn't, she's so busy managing teams and what have you that her golf is the last thing that she thinks of. So if you look at impact, you can definitely see on a visual standpoint that the club definitely wants to overtake.
Sure.
Hands back, body's really getting ahead of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the hands are just left back. And if you take it back to address, what we're just going to have a little tinker with is Michelle, obviously you've got camera angle in here, but that ball position looks set a long way forward of where the hands are. Mm-hmm. And if you look at Michelle's grip, we'll show you live in a second, the trail hand, right hand, is relatively strong, as she calls it, and the lead hand, I would say, is perfectly neutral. Mm-hmm. But not in relationship to if you think a hand should be much more up here.
Sure. It
would completely change the dynamic of what that grip actually is.
Right.
Should we have a play?
Sure. Yeah.
So you can see here, so you see what I mean? You definitely got the ball a good amount forwards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And your hands at the moment are behind the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with that 7-iron, I would like to see exactly the same grip, but with your hands way forward. So I would push the ball back
Move yourself,
a little bit more. Cool. And then I would push the handle forward, which will make you feel like the club's going way out to the right, but then turn the club back in so turn the club in your grip. So don't turn your hands around. Does that make sense?
Am I doing it?
Yeah.
Turn the face a little bit shut.
But you definitely default to a face to the right,
Yeah.
which then weakens the grip.
Right.
Sure.
I think that looks pretty smart.
Yeah, so if you step away from that, because you've been over that for too long to hit a shot, just do a practice swing with that. So really feel like you've got the ball much nearer the back foot almost, with the handle way forward, but still with the same grip that you've
the
got.
face almost looking really shut.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here, I'll exaggerate.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
definitely.
That
And just
actually looks more square to me.
a couple
like
of
more
practice
perfect.
swings with that. So just exaggerate handle forwards with the grip feeling strong, if you like, and the face turned in. Yeah, I mean, that feels crazy different to you, doesn't it? Like scary different.
It does.
So let's hit a couple like that.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to dynamic loft, but it'll also be interesting to see what happens to any of the forces.
Yeah, how you change on the
Because
ground.
sometimes when you're managing the face differently,
You have to move your lower body.
correct, the forces fall into place or move. How's it looking, Scott? Is she?
Looks good.
Give it a go, yeah. So I'd say that was a similar up and down strike to the first one. Was it Healy?
No, it felt center, just definitely low.
Just low on the face.
So loft now down to 33.
Okay.
So not enough, but a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
If I just get that, there you go, screen 2, 33, I think it was 35.
Yeah.
So can you do another one before we look at the capture? So how much can you exaggerate it?
Yeah.
Because I want that loft in the 20s
Oh gosh.
just to experience what that feels like.
Forward.
That felt better.
Sounded good. Quite high in the net maybe? What was the
Low
loft?
in the net.
33.
33 again.
So instantly for me, if you can't get that in the 20s, it's a skill that if you were back playing, you have to have.
Right. Absolutely.
Even if you don't play with it, it's a skill that you need to be able to employ, because we copy and paste you into a second golfer and that person can do that.
Yeah.
You play enough rounds, they'll beat you.
Exactly.
So you'll compete because your standard deviations will overlap, but she'll constantly have a skill that comes into play in situation that you haven't got.
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, that one carried 136, and the previous several were like in the 120. There was one
Yeah.
that carried 117. Like,
Well, 2 degrees of loft
Can't
is
be.
half a club.
yeah.
Nearly a whole club, because it's 3 to 4 degrees loft
Yeah.
if you think about it per, if you go 8, 7, 6s.
Yeah.
So you'll change it, and this is what I always say to students when they come in and say, oh, I just don't hit this club far enough, or it goes too high.
Yeah.
And they always say things like, oh, it's my hips, and I just think, well, it isn't. Something in here,
Yeah.
because it's just pure physics that make that ball goes where it goes.
Sure.
Right.
Then we can come back to this bit, then we can talk hips and those bits.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in the 20s, don't care how you do it. Don't care if you load differently, push your handle so far forward. You're just not allowed to put the ball by your back foot. So you're not allowed to punch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got to do it dynamically. So over strengthen, over hood the grip, over handle press.
Yeah, really get that grip strong.
This isn't about a good shot. This is about a 20-something degree launch, or loft, sorry.
Okay.
Sounds like a solid old hit, that. 26. 26 degrees. So can we have a look at that one?
Sure.
Did anything happen differently, or was she
Carried a
doing it?
143.
Yeah.
That.
Well, I saw it yesterday. You were just hemorrhaging distance while at the same time hitting targets.
Yeah.
But again, we said this off camera. If you are going to go and play and practice the same amount that you don't now, I'd play like you played yesterday, because it's good enough.
The score was good.
Yeah,
it was
it's
just
great.
how
It's
it got
great.
done.
But if you wanted to be, if you were going back to when you were competing,
Right.
you know this is something that you would think, this is a skill I need to be able to
Absolutely.
experiment with.
Actually, the horizontal braking force looks a lot more efficient, so she really kind of slams on that brakes, and that's that force coming this way out of the left foot,
Yeah,
the one that we talked about earlier, like coming back that way.
yeah.
That she seems to be a lot more efficient with now. You can see how it really kind of jams on
Yeah.
the brakes there.
And that's really obvious if you think about it, which I'll show in a second. Can we just show like for like setups on the screen here?
Sure, yeah.
This one looks like I'm trying to hit it over a tree. This one looks like how that iron was designed. That's how the
Sure.
makers designed that club
Yeah.
to be to be hit, and they also want you at your speeds delivering in the 20s loft.
Right.
They don't want you at your speeds delivering more loft than they put on that club, because you're getting these rainbow flights.
Yeah.
You're going to lose
It was just
definitely
constant.
distance. Yeah, look at the braking force.
Yeah, that's just one bump, and you can see here she kind of bumps and then turns around and bumps
And
again.
the reason I'm pretty experienced at seeing this is, like I said, this is me. So to give you an example, from going from brilliant at lining up the face, but like presenting loads of loft, you're thinking,
Right.
well, I can't hit the ball like this, but my forces are so much better.
Right.
So how can I use those forces and relearn how to square the face up? And that's what you'll do, because the trouble you've got, which is always the balance, is if you're a dart, you know, throwing darts with your technique, if you go and do this technique, you're going to hit some that aren't darts, and that'll make you panic, because your skill is darts. But there's a transition where if it starts going further, that's exciting. You've also got this panic that you're not throwing darts anymore, but there's sometimes, like on the par 5s yesterday, I was reaching something too that I really struggled to reach into before. So I'm enjoying that more than just throwing darts all the time.
For sure.
Because I know if you practice, the darts are in you. They'll never go, because you practice them for years. They'll just get weaker while you do a new technique, but they'll come back.
Right.
But the darts need to be built around 26, 28 degrees of dynamic loft. They can't be built around 35.
Yeah.
Otherwise you've got a bucket of power and you'll just chuck in a percentage out before you go.
Right.
You have to fill that bucket up.
And I'm weird, like I like a left miss.
Yeah.
Especially with my driver, because I never see that.
Yeah, because you were high right, wouldn't you? Yes, your miss
That's my
yesterday
miss,
was basically that way, like, whoa, where I would like to have seen it going forward and left.
I don't mind that miss.
Yeah. I mean, give it a practice.
It's hammered.
Yeah. But I mean, how interesting is that you changed grip, perception of loft, and she changes how she works in because she's a good player.
Yeah.
Amazing. Grip change, ideas of, you know, how you set up changes the way she pushes in the ground.
I mean, that was
Changes the
almost
loft.
10 degrees of loft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
11
changed.
degrees. Yeah, it's 9 degrees, isn't it? 9
It's
degrees of
almost
loft.
20 degrees of
That's
yardage.
2 clubs.
Carry
Yeah,
yardage.
20 degrees
Yeah.
because it's 2 clubs.
Right.
That you're hitting a 7-iron like an 8.
Or possibly a 9.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Where world-class players will be hitting a 7-iron like a 6.
Right. Right.
It's great. But let's
Thank
do one,
you.
Let's do one more. I like that.
Yeah.
Good effort.
Oh,
Loft.
a little fat. 31.
So that's better. That's 4 degrees less.
Mhm.
But your goal is to keep it above 25. Well, I mean, if you can get it down to 26s,
That's.
you'll play at 28.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was smashed.
Yeah. Like that.
The turn actually felt way better.
Oh, it'll be different.
31.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
31 is good. It's a start. It needs practice, which obviously you haven't got time to do. But if you find any time,
I'll make time.
this is something I would definitely be wanting you to have control over. It's good. It's really good.
Great.
Really good.